I'm Jordan Rayner, and this is the Word Before Work. Today we're reading from 1 Corinthians 9 verses 14 and 15 and 1 Corinthians 9, 22 and 23. Here's what it says. Paul says, "In the same way, the Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should receive their living from the gospel. But I have not used any of these rights, and I am not writing this in the hope that you will do such things for me. For I would rather die than allow anyone to deprive me of this boast. To the weak, I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings." While the Apostle Paul's work as a church planter is well known, it's easy to forget that he also chose to work as a tent maker. See Acts 18 verses 2 through 3. Today's passage makes this equally clear. Paul says he had every single right to work as what we might call a donor-supported missionary. But he didn't. Why? Paul chose to work as a tent maker in order to, quote, become all things to all people, so that by all possible means he might save some, end quote. He did it for the sake of the gospel. Paul understood that those of us who work outside of the four walls of the local church are uniquely positioned to spread the gospel, because the workplace is where many of us spend the most time with those who have yet to meet the risen Jesus. For Paul, tent making would have been the perfect opportunity to build relationships with those outside the local church. As Dr. Mark Russell points out in his book, The Missional Entrepreneur, quote, "Paul's work as a tent maker was a deliberate strategy that enabled him to identify with another, primarily different group of people. By participating in tent-making trade associations and guilds, he would have become enmeshed in previously inaccessible social networks," end quote. Paul's work as a tent maker wasn't out of necessity or coincidence. It was a strategic choice to make disciples. The same can and should be true for you and me. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a marketer, a nurse, a plumber, or a teacher, you have unique opportunities to make disciples with those you're surrounded by at work. By serving your bosses, employees, coworkers, and customers through the ministry of excellence, you will win the respect of outsiders and earn the right for the gospel to be heard. See 1 Thessalonians 4 verses 11 through 12. So go and serve your work with excellence today, and pray that the Lord would open clear opportunities to share the gospel, not just with your work, but also with your words. Today's devotional only scratches the surface of how God's word connects to our work. If you want to go deeper, sign up for my free 20-day devotional called The Word Before Work Foundations at twbwfoundations.com. These email devotionals are designed to help you gain a rich understanding of the biblical narrative of work, how exactly your work matters for eternity, and what those truths mean for how we ought to work today. Sign up right now, again, totally free at twbwfoundations.com.